Kia ora, hi, I'm Jamin. I've had the privilege of working with wonderful nature in New Zealand here for the last 17 years or so, on and off, but done quite a lot of it. And so my channel, Observing Nature with Jamin, is all about me sharing and learning all about our wonderful nature and sharing it with you. So, hope you enjoy. Feel free to subscribe if you like it. Subscribe button down the bottom corner. It's a beautiful day here in Arthur's Pass National Park. Sun shining, and we're here to see some Coprosma plants. It's autumn at the moment. It's the berry season. A lot of the plants have got berries. So yeah, I was just out here the other day and saw some of the Coprosmas had berries, so I thought I'd come and have a look at them. Because it's autumn, or North America call it the fall. So yeah, a Coprosma hunt and have a look at some of them, or one of them, two of them, and try and figure out what they are. Okay. Um,
900 metres above sea level.
So, yep, just on the edge of the subalpine zone. You can see up behind me here, big screes, up to the big bluffs behind, and so then there's scrubs coming down there. We're just on the edge of the scrub, or the shrubland forest. So there's still a few bigger trees here. We're on the main divide of the Southern Alps of New Zealand. So to the west over there gets pretty wet, and then out over here to the east it's not as wet, but a bit of wet. So particularly here to look at the some of the little leaf Coprosmas today, such as this chap here. Can't see too much. It's a spiny bush, tiny little thin leaves. We'll look a bit closer in a minute, and they are fruiting at the moment. So we'll just come over here and see if we can find some fruiting Coprosma berries, fruiting Coprosma bushes. So here's a straggly looking plant. They come in various shapes and sizes. So we're looking at the, well, I thought it'd be straightforward. It's not straightforward figuring out what a Coprosma is. It's about, so yeah, Coprosmas are not straightforward plants. In New Zealand there's about, well, Coprosmas, a lot of Coprosmas are from New Zealand. There's about 90 species of Coprosmas in the Pacific Australasia region, of which New Zealand has 58 of them endemic to New Zealand, so that means they're only found naturally in New Zealand. So the majority of Coprosmas are found in New Zealand, and if you're taking the subspecies in New Zealand, there's about 200 Coprosmas, so it's quite a lot. They vary from great big leaves to little tiny leaves like the ones we're looking at today, and they come from all across New Zealand. They are berry growing plants, so they all have berries. They're related to the coffee plant apparently. So yeah, the Coprosma genus is, got about, as I said, 200 different subspecies in New Zealand. Of the total seed-bearing plants in New Zealand, there's about 2,030 seed-bearing plants in New Zealand, so the Coprosmas make up a big chunk of that. So yeah, here to look at the, what I thought was the brown-stemmed Coprosma, or Coprosma acerosa. And when I looked into it, might be more, could also, the information online was indicating that this Coprosma here was actually Coprosma rugosa, or the needle-leafed mountain Coprosma. So this is looks like the needle-leaf mountain Coprosma. So you can see it there, it's not really standoutish. We'll come along here, there's a couple more, sort of get a bit of a view of them with some background there. So they can grow quite scrubby and quite thin. Here's some berries on some here. You might be able to see, we come in close. So here we have the mountain leaf, needle leaf mountain coprosma, or the brown-stem coprosma. To find a professional botanist who's got the time to show me. Great. Anyway, just have a look at the berries here, or they're called drupes in technical terms. They're sort of a pale blue. See the very fine leaves, and one of the structural things about coprosmas is that the leaves are opposite each other. You can sort of see the stems opposite each other. It's a bit hard to find with the leaf. It's not waving in the breeze. You can see in here the leaf stems start opposite each other. Come out to the end here. As you can see there, the leaves come off opposite each other. You can see in here, just in here, gives you an idea of the size of the leaves. There's a little piece underneath it that comes across, and yeah, the two leaves, the leaf pairs starting off on the opposite side. There's quite a few berries in here. It varies on how much, depending on the season, how many berries there are. So yeah, quite a tight-knit little plant. Yeah, not very popular with our local introduced animals. Not much leaf on it. The berries obviously good for eating. So these berries are popular with our local birds. Some of them. I have observed kea eating these on a prostrate type version of these. Up in a similar sort of country actually to this. It was rocky alpine, a bit like this. So yeah, I've seen kea eating berries in this sort of country. There's a bunch of 9 of them once I've observed, which is pretty cool. Oh, juvenile kea. This is a bit of a hangout spot for kea birds sometimes, although they probably prefer other berries to these ones particularly. Here, kea off in the distance there. So getting back to about the coprosma, this coprosma, I looked it up. It appears from online information. Some really great sites you can use. Land Kea Research also has a good coprosma key, which is good for experienced people who know a bit about plants. Not for me, I'm not a botanist. I'd love to know a bit more accurately, but yeah, you need to use the coprosma keys to fit exactly what you're dealing with. You need to have a microscope or a very good magnifying glass to have a look at the little hairs on the leaves and the stems to determine which one is which. Anyway, looking at the general stuff, it would seem that these plants here were the Coprosma rugosa. because most online stuff is saying that the Coprosma rugosa lives in the alpine mountain areas, well, from the lowlands to the mountain areas, whereas the Coprosma acerosa, which looks similar, is a prostrate plant, so it grows flatter, closer to the ground, prostrate. But then botany is never straightforward, or never nature always straightforward. So talking to some local plant specialists, and was informed that yes, actually when Arthur's passed, there are both rugosa and acerosa, and the acerosa is not all prostrate. So it's apparently a confusing thing even for the professional botanists to figure out which is which. So we're just going to say that they are either Coprosma rugosa or Coprosma acerosa. So that's the rugosa is the needle-leafed mountain Coprosma, and acerosa is the brown stem Coprosma. So it's either one or the other or both, and it's possible to get hybrids so in a lot of the plants, so that makes it even confusing for people trying to identify exactly what they are. Some plants obviously are easy. Rata tree has red flowers and pretty standard, beech tree and such like, but some of these more different plants that look similar, like the Coprosmas, the habitat in the same areas can get a bit difficult to determine, but that's the fun of our nature. So yeah, that's why I like looking at things and trying to figure things out and then share them with you guys. That's what this channel is about. Okay. So yes, the little pale blue to white berries off this Coprosma are edible. So let's have a look. These are pretty small. Some of them are fractionally bigger. Let's pick a little. Hear a falcon off in the distance, that's cool to hear. Falcon. New Zealand falcon. You can also hear Keir in the distance. It's our alpine parrot. Anyway, Coprosma berries, which Keirs like to eat. So, some in my hand here, you won't be able to see it in focus. But yeah, I saw them before. So, Coprosma berry, very small. Little seed inside. See two little seeds inside there. Two little seeds. They probably take up about, I don't know, 20% of the space inside, so there's quite a bit of flesh compared to some berries we have in New Zealand. They're very small. If you're wanting to live off them, you'd be hard pushed. But this time of year, there's a lot of berries around. Last week I was up in the subalpine doing some work, and then it's just trying a few different berries. And there were a lot of Coprosma cheesemanii, which is a little red berry on a prostrate and ground growing Coprosma. There were also mountain snow totara, which were a slightly bigger berry. They're about, I don't know, 6-7 millimeters diameter. There were a few snowberries. Snowberry is the most popular one in New Zealand. They're quite big, about 10 to 15, well, about average around 10 millimeters diameter. Snowberries are sweet and probably juicy at the right time of the year, and they're the nicest. There weren't many of them around now. Not the best season for snowberries. Anyway, it was interesting just tasting a few different ones. The Coprosma cheesemanii, little red berry, a bit like these, but red. Tasted a bit like carrot actually. Most of the Coprosma berries are slightly bitter. These ones here are fairly bitter. Although when they're ripe, obviously they're better. These ones are pretty much about ripe. They'll probably start falling off, and then they might, I don't know how long but they'll probably start turning past their prime in the next few weeks, I would say. It just came, well, they were quite ripe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm not quite sure how long they last ripe. They might last ripe for a month, maybe. Or maybe a month or two. You certainly can find Coprosma berries right in the middle of winter. They'll stay in the bushes often, especially in the forest. They don't get so much wind and rain knocking them. So the mountain totara or mountain snow totara berries, they had quite a piney taste to them. They were quite nice actually, quite sweet. And yeah, so anyway, these I wouldn't want to live on these, but if I was out in the wilderness here and short on food, and especially this time of the year from sort of end of January or even mid-January through to we're May now, and probably into June there'll still be some, then I'd be certainly hoeing into some of these. You're trying to find, obviously, because they're so small, you need to find bushes where there's heaps of them, so you could get a decent amount, because otherwise you spend so much time and energy and you won't get enough energy from the food that you're eating. But I think, after my experience last week, trying to grab a few, that you would probably, be able to get a bit of a snack anyway to help keep you going. You wouldn't want to live on it for weeks, that's for sure. So these, which you can't see that well, but you see them. So these are the New Zealand Coprosma. It'll be either the Coprosma rugosa, the needle-leafed mountain Coprosma, or it could be, not 100% sure which was which, could be the Coprosma acerosa or the brown-stemmed Coprosma. But really, to find out, you have to have a bit more botanical knowledge than me, and you need to be able to interpret the different names of the different pieces, tiny little parts of the plant, and the joints, and that sort of thing, the leaves, and the stems, and the parts. And you need to have a magnifying device to look at the hairs on the plants and the leaves to actually define exactly which is which. And then it can currently get into a bit of a debate anyway, even at that point. But at least we know it's one or the other. So yeah, actually, because there's so many Coprosmas in New Zealand, 58 different species or 200 subspecies, means there's quite a lot of them compared to any of the other plant species, particularly the shrubby treey ones. Have heard from other people an old ranger's trick. For rangers have been shown around or asked what plant's this one or that one, they're like, oh, it's a Coprosma. They know there's a reasonable chance there's a Coprosma because there's just so many of them. And if you're not really a plant expert like me, because I spend a lot of time in this area, I know a lot of these plants. Well, most of them I recognise by sight, but I don't know all their names. Part of the reason I'm doing this, to learn more about them. And I want to know for sure which ones are all Coprosmas. And there's a weed there, see? Good to get rid of that weed bush. Someone's done some removal of the weeds here. A few dead gorse bushes, which is good to see. So, yeah, okay, let's have a look for some Coprosmas, see if we can find anything. Yeah, I did see some smaller Coprosmas here, some more needle-leaf mountain Coprosma, and then we've got a see amongst that one, like the 5 finger and different things. Saw somewhere here, there was another small-leaf Coprosma, different from the ones that we're looking at. Here we go. I don't know what this one is. This is a small-leaf Coprosma. It's got a white berry also. So it'd be interesting to figure out what that is at some point. It's got more of a rounded leaf, smaller leaf. It's got the berries are whiter. The berries are whiter rather than the bluish tinge that the other ones had. Here's some kia birds up there. Nice when they came down for a chat. Put on a show. Although that's wild birds, they don't usually put on a show. Well, they do, but not always convenient when you want to film them. So yeah, they taste alright. Not as bitter as the needle-leafed Coprosma. Here's heaps of berries on this needle-leafed Coprosma here. You can see all those. Still interesting up here in the subalpine because it's such a rugged terrain. I think there's, get my facts right, it's about 6 metres of rain a year falls up here. Could be wrong. Down the village we get 3 to 4. It's about 3 usually. Up here it's about double that. So 6 metres of rain, so it's quite a lot of rain. That's what I like. Things about loving it up here is that it's green most of the time. Even though we've had a drought over the summer, a few trees have died off. It's still been pretty green because the trees are naturally green in their colouring. Not like down the plains where everything dries off and you get the burnt out paddock look. Where I grew up, much prefer the green look myself. So yeah, because of the unique terrain up here, for the strong winds, often really windy here, a lot of rain, a lot of cloud blowing through, snow in winter, bushes get a bit of a hammering, so they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes of what they can cope with. Some of them are still really uniform and neat to try and get the most sun, but yeah, they can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. This here is probably a Coprosma as well. This little one here. So yeah, this will most likely be a Coprosma. Here you go, the rain. Using the ranger's trick. I don't know for sure. Good chance. Because they've got opposite leaves. Let's have a look. Oh, I might be wrong. I think the leaves are not opposing each other. It's possible it's some type of... Oh, hang on. No, pretty hard to tell. Such tight little leaves. Yeah, I think the leaves are one above each other, so the leaves are not opposite each other. So it's probably like a Coprosma, might be married to a Hebe or something. Don't know. Might do something about that one in the future and look it up. So here over here is.
Thanks for joining me today. Good to learn about Coprosma arosa or Coprosma acerosa. Kind of just figure out what to click. Beautiful day. Catch you around.